So the question is, what are we being distracted from? We've been distracted from the setting up of the one world order. More than that, we have been distracted from looking to God for all areas of our lives. We've been distracted from praying every morning, from before we close our eyes, from talking to God. There's just too much going on. Good morning, Trinity family. Once again, I thank you for being part of our journey together as a family of Trinity International. I thank you also for your generous contributions, your tithe and love offerings, which make it possible for me to continue the work of the Lord. Your generosity and your service to God will be rewarded. God promises that in the written word that He has given us to read. And so, once again, it is a privilege to share with you God's word. This morning, I'm going to start off by talking about the poke that we received in 2020, and to just summarize the essence of this poke. It's a protein, and it's manufactured in a lab, and it's carried using a messenger, and so they call it messenger RNA. And so it's a message that is put into your body and sent into your DNA, and that message is sent to every cell. The cell is a protein-making machine. It's a biological machine that makes proteins. And when it receives this message that it must make proteins, it makes a particular type of protein which is poisonous to the body. It is the same disease, I'm using that word purposely, the same disease that has been out, it is part of that disease that your cells are now being asked to make. And when your cells make these proteins, your autoimmune system, your soldiers of your body, sense that there's a foreign body inside that's not part of this body. So it starts attacking the cells of the same body. So your white blood cell starts to attack your own body, and it's called an autoimmune disease. And many people, from the time they started taking it, there's a 5 to 7 year gap between death. So those that have taken a strong dose die within the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year. And so it goes on. Now, the people didn't see the effect of it straight away. But I want you to watch this video so you get a clearer picture.
That we've ever had put out to people on a mass scale.
Is messenger RNA. It's a message that's being sent from your DNA to your cells, telling your cells what to do to maintain health. In this case, create a protein, do something to defend a foreign invader. But in this case, that message, that messenger RNA is not coming from your DNA. It's coming from a laboratory. It's basically a computer program, a code, a message that's being sent to your cells and telling your cells to become a manufacturing plant.
What this is designed to do is deliver this messenger RNA molecule, which is the code for a protein, into our cells, and it has a special envelope that merges with our cells and delivers the contents inside. And then once inside, it will use the machinery of our cells and make that foreign protein. So our cells will essentially become factories to make a foreign protein.
That's what this does. It makes your own cells the enemy. It makes your cells start creating, very specifically, the protein we've all heard about of. And then what happens is, hopefully, there's a secondary response where the immune system says, oh my God, there's a in here. It didn't see it come from the outside. All of a sudden, our own cells are creating it, so our immune system attacks and kills our own cells that are now manufacturing the inside of our bodies.
Now, while I was warning people on this platform to be careful not to take this thing, many people were distracted. And that word I want you to pay attention to. We're distracted. By what? By their livelihood. Their livelihood caused them to be distracted from these facts that we were putting out and many like us. Now, what's even more concerning, I haven't got it in my notes here, but I thought I'll mention it, and if Nicole can add that for me. This past week, there's a law that has come into effect that gives permission for a certain group to start poking the chickens, and certain labs will use to poke these chickens, and this is the chickens that we're going to consume. So we'll have chickens that got the same kind of poke inside of them that people will now be consuming. And this leader of the Democratic Alliance, who happens to be agricultural minister, proudly comes out and says, we've done this to prevent avian flu. Wow. Either that's ignorance or something very much more dangerous. But anyway, I tell you this so that I don't want you to be distracted from what the enemy has planned, from the face of God. I don't want your livelihoods to keep you so busy and distracted that you don't see what's coming. And this is why Jesus says that in the last days you need to be watchful and you must pray. So we're being watchful in many of the things I'm going to share with you this morning. Now, we already know most of what I'm sharing now. The world is run by people in the shadows, and this term is called a hidden hand, a group of people in the shadows. These people, as I mentioned to you before, and has been testified by so many people, including the banker that they killed, Ronald was his name, they are involved they're in direct contact with Satan. And they contact Satan via sexually immoral acts. It's a demonic worship practice, summoning demons. That's what they have to do. And so they perform human rituals, sacrificial rituals. They kill human beings. They drink blood, a whole lot of things that your mind cannot process. And Satan then shows them that there's a time that's coming, and it's coming up very close, where the Christian God, I should say the Lord of the world, the Lord of everything, the Most High, is going to come down and is going to receive his own. And Satan wants them to distract as many of God's children as humanly possible. And he gives them the means and the weapons to do it. And so we're going to unearth some of the things. But you know, I mentioned to you there's a document, this word JEW, Nicole can have it on the screen. I'm not going to use that word because, do you know, TikTok refused to promote our TikTok videos simply because of this fact. So we're going to try to beat the algorithm. And I'm going to use the word Edomite instead, because that's truly what they are. Now, they wrote a document many decades ago spelling out the plan that will be carried out in the end of days. And I'm going to read to you parts of this document that is relevant. It's called the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Now, the first part says, the principal object of our directorate, what their directive is, to debilitate the public mind by criticism. Okay. To lead it away from serious reflections calculated to arouse resistance. To distract the forces of the mind towards a sham fight of empty eloquence. Distract. I want you to see how the devil distracts. In order to distract people, this is another part of that document, who may be too troublesome from discussions of questions of the political, we are now putting forward what we allege to be new questions of the political, namely questions of industry. Now, industry means literally hard work. You'll hear that when couples get married, I'm faithful to you in industry. Now, industry is livelihood. The livelihoods of people, their daily sustenance, the things that they work towards. And so, to distract people, this document says we're going to make them pay attention to their livelihoods. Some of the other people, the first paragraph we read, we're going to distract them with political things that are empty. Other people, we're going to put their attention on their own livelihoods. Let them focus on their lives. Now, whose plan is this? This is not the elders of Zion. This is Satan's plan that he gave them to put down and to practice. So we're going to see how these things play out. But the document is not complete. We skip to another section. We further distract them with amusements, games, pastimes, passions, people's palaces. Soon we shall begin through the press to propose competitions in art, in sport, in all kinds. These interests will finally distract their minds from the questions in which we should find ourselves compelled to oppose them. So, he distracts them with what? First, political things. Shams. Second, we're going to distract them in their livelihoods. Those people that are not interested in the political, we're going to make them get so involved in their livelihoods that they won't see anything coming. The third thing we're going to do, those people that are not really interested in working, that don't interest in politics, we're going to make them concentrate on sport. And so we'll create sporting competitions like the UEFA Champions League, like the tennis Wimbledon finals, like a US Open, like all these competitions. So people get so invested that sometimes when the heroes lose, they start crying on the field. They're going to be totally invested so that their minds are not focused and are instead distracted. What they want to distract us from, I'm going to get to that at the end. But we're going to go in some detail about the distractions politically. And I want to show you how this is a sham distraction. Now, I want you to take the church, for example. People go and sit in different churches around the world, different denominations. And I want you to see what they preach about from your general knowledge. They preach exactly the three distractions. You'll find many churches and Christian organizations delve into politics. So much so that they start to get a force of followers behind them to support a candidate of their choice. And the typical example was Donald Trump. He had Daystar Television. He had TBN Network. In fact, every Christian network was talking about supporting this man because he supposedly had Christian principles and wanted to get rid of all the LGBTQ things. You see, those were things that were planned. They were planned to get so under the skin of Christians that the Christians now, when they saw somebody that was coming to eradicate this, they'll jump on the train. They let the borders, as I shared with this you open last year or the year before, they left the borders open of America so that they can let illegals come in, so that they need to be a candidate that's going to stand in opposition for this free flow of people coming in. And so the Christians jumped on the bandwagon. You see, they used politics, and most of these Christian organizations, including the very high-ranking pastors worldwide, they started to jump on the Trump bandwagon because what was he doing? He was standing up for their beliefs, but it was a sham. So what's the second thing they preach about? Livelihood. If you come to our church, you will be blessed by God so that you have a fulfilled industry, livelihood. You will be financially blessed. If you listen to these 7 principles that I'm teaching this coming week and the next week, I'm not going to teach you that. I'm telling you what they do, the churches. They promote these ideas that they take the Bible and twist scripture to feed the congregation who is hungry to hear, how do I make my livelihood, my industry better? How do I progress in this world better? And the gospel will give you the tools to come and make your life better. So all the churches, knowing what people want, they use their livelihoods to distract them from the truth. We're going to get to what that truth is. What are we being distracted from? I'm going to share that with you in the very end. You'll find even some churches mention about the sporting event that just took place. Oh, so many people from our church ran the Comrades Marathon competitions. So you'll find that we supported the Boks this weekend. They did so well. Springboks, the rugby team, for those of you international. The Proteas did so well, and it's announced from the pulpit. What is it designed to do? According to Satan's children, it's designed to distract, but you hear it from the pulpit. Now, if you look at Jesus and all of his disciples and every person in the Bible, they never preached about industry. Never. They never preached about how to make your life better on this earth, how to prosper, how to progress, how to generate wealth, how to be blessed in industry, in your livelihoods. They never talk about it. For what reason? The reason is this. It's like my mandate, which I copied from Jesus. My mandate is not to bless you in your skin, is not to make your skin progress in this world. As much as we all like that, and if we follow the principles of God one way or the other, God will bless us. But that's not where our attention must be. I have no interest in prospering your skin. I have no interest in prospering my skin. Have you ever thought of this? that the day that your skin dies, and it will die, who preached to the spirit inside of that skin? Who preached to that spirit? Nobody. Nobody was preaching to that spirit. They were all preaching to the dead skin. You call it the walking dead. You might be alive and walking, but that skin is already dead. You're just walking towards the death. But the spirit, you see, this is why my mandate is not to preach to the skin, to appeal to the skin, because the skin is the distraction. Industry is the distraction, and your skin walks towards industry, livelihood, hard work, get things done, progress, blessing, financial, material. This is what the skin. My mandate is not to preach to the skin, and I hope you have figured this out by now. My mandate is to enrich the spirit inside, because that is the spirit that is remaining when the skin is dead. So, have you ever thought about, where is my spirit going to go when that skin is dead? So, this is why I want you to listen very carefully to my mandate. My mandate is not going to give you a recipe so that you can be financially, materially blessed in industry for the sake of your skin. If God wills it and you enrich your spirit, then so be it. Now let us look at the political distraction. I'm going to tell you an in-depth story. So I want you to follow very carefully with me. Some of the stuff I might have mixed it up and shared with you before, but Wikipedia tells us this. There's a man called Robert Maxwell. We're going to read about him. He was born in Czechoslovakia. He was a media proprietor. He's a big media man, mogul. He was a politician and a fraudster. He's declared there. But between you and I, he was an Edomite. Remember what Edomite stands for. After 6 years as a Labour minister, member of Parliament, he was an MP in the British Parliament. Robert Maxwell led a flamboyant lifestyle, living in Headington Hall in Oxford, from which he often flew in his helicopter or sailing in his luxury yacht, the Lady Ghislaine, named after his daughter Ghislaine. Maxwell had embezzled hundreds of millions of pounds from his own company's pension funds. Maxwell was born into a poor Yiddish-speaking Orthodox Jewish family. Maxwell is alleged to have distributed a bugged version of a software promise to a plethora of national governments and global financial institutions that enabled mass spying by the government of Israel. He also had Mossad allegation. Now, Mossad is the CIA of Israel. It's like the spy agency. In 2020, Maxwell's youngest child, his daughter Ghislaine Maxwell, was arrested and charged in New Hampshire with 6 federal crimes involving minors' trade, travel, and seduction to engage in criminal sexual activity, and conspiracy to entice children to engage in illegal sex acts, allegedly linked to a sex trafficking ring with Jeffrey Epstein, who had already died in jail the previous year. She was convicted in December 21 and sentenced to 20 years in prison on the 28th of June 22. We learn about his second daughter, Isabel Maxwell, has been listed as a technology pioneer of the World Economic Forum. Do I have to say any more than that? She was a director of Israel Venture Network and built up the social entrepreneur program in Israel. Now, between you and I, there are several books written about this man Maxwell, Robert Maxwell. He was an Israeli super spy. They set him up to supply computer software to various governments around the world. That software was actually spying on the government's work, emails, secrets, and whatever. More than that, he on his yacht brought politicians and senior policy makers around the world, very famous people, to his yacht and trafficked underage girls to the yacht, filmed them, and so that he used that as a blackmail. But he was an agent of Mossad. He was also an agent of CIA and an agent of KGB and an agent of MI6. So all these British, American, Russian, German spy agencies, he was the front man, Robert Maxwell. And maybe for some reason they got rid of him, but they made his daughter, Ghislaine, associate herself as a handler to Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted, now dead human trafficker, sex trafficker, and so forth. You remember that Lolita Island story. Now he is like passed the torch on. The torch is now passed from the dead Robert Maxwell to now dead Jeffrey Epstein. So what he did is, did the very same thing. He had properties in New York, in Miami, in Paris, and that island. And so he flew very powerful men, including Prince Andrew of the royal family, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, all are on that aeroplane list, flew them to his island, and many, many more celebrities and so forth. And he taped all their sessions with underage girls. And that was used as a blackmail material held by his handlers, which was Israel, so that they can make every country leader, every country bow to the wishes of the Edomites that living in the land of Israel. So we see the picture of what was going on. And now, here comes Donald Trump. And the Christian people, they are angry about the violence in crime that is coming across the border. They are angry about this LGBTQ, LQB, whatever, plus agenda. They are angry that Jeffrey Epstein list of names that he blackmailed is not coming out. So and Trump came out and says, no, we are going to get that list and we are going to release that list. So they all jumped on the bandwagon, the Trump bandwagon. You see, what the cabal told us in the book of Elders, or the Elders, or protocol of the elders that we read now, we need to distract them with a political sham. It's a sham. So we distracted the Christian people because nobody else is as important as the Christian people, because those are the people closest to God. So we need to get them on this bandwagon. And we need to distract them from whatever we're doing, because we'll be doing something very important and we need something big to distract them. So Donald Trump gets on, we're going to do this and we're going to let the names come out. Influencers like Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, and Donald Trump, and all these people come out, and once we get into power, nobody's going to hide from us. All the names will be leaked. We'll be arresting top people. Come on, people. You couldn't have bought that, because the hidden hand is too powerful. They run the country. They already blackmailed and bought every judge, every politician, every senator, everybody, almost everybody is bought. Around the world this is. But we're talking about America because this is what, if we look at the terms today, it's called the whole land of the West is called Edom. So this is why we're talking about it. The whole West is called Edom. Headquarters Israel. So when they took power, these people, Trump's people, he appointed Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, all these people. There's another lady there, Alina Habba. I'm going to show you these two videos. Alina Habba is the Deputy Attorney General, and Pam Bondi is the Attorney General. And I want you to listen to what they said a while ago, after Trump took power. Let's listen to what they said.
Because we've been told over and over and over again that they did have materials And I'll take you through some of those. Here's Pam Bondi in February of this year talking about Epstein's client list that they now tell us does not exist. SOT 7.
DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
She explicitly said the Epstein client list was sitting on her desk. And now they explicitly say they have no evidence that he kept a client list. Like, this is the kind of thing you need to be really specific about. And we were left with yet another question mark. Now, here's Alina Habba, who's also now working at DOJ on Piers Morgan.
But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court. But again, now it's time for accountability. We have seen for so many years, Pierce, in this country, many investigations, subpoenas, testimonies in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a general frustration with accountability. We take it halfway, we don't take it home. And I really believe that now with Cash and Pam, there will be accountability.
So they kept the campaign promise. We're going to give the list. This one woman said, I got the list. It's on my desk. And we're gonna release it. The other one, Alina Habba, said, no, we got the names. We got the terrible acts that did it, and nobody's gonna hide from this, and they're gonna be released. And the Christian people are busy clapping, getting excited. It's a sham. Not long after that, on 4th of July, they came out and they made this statement. Not publicly, they wrote a memo and they sent it out. DOJ, FBI conclude Epstein had no client list. He died by suicide, and that's the end of the story. There's no more story. The case is now closed. When they asked Trump about this, why is the case closed? Obviously, the man didn't kill himself. If there was no client list, if there was no black book, why did he kill himself? So they asked the story in his meeting, and he lost it. Let's see what he said.
Your memo and release yesterday with Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape?
Yeah, sure. If
Hey, could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
So Trump called the man a creep. The man that he spent 15 years as a best friend with, never knew what was going on in his life, whether he was a sex trafficker or not. In fact, he was his friend after he got convicted of such sex trafficking. So Trump is now a puppet of the hidden hand, it seems. It was all a sham. To get a certain person in power, all a sham. He also spent many years, Trump, being the friend of Ghislaine, and there's hundreds of photographs with them along their lives together. Now he calls him a creep, suddenly. especially after promising, oh, we're going to release this information. And the criminals that have been running the shadow hand, we're going to release them. Listen, that was all a sham. Now, apart from this blackmail operation, there are leaders that cannot be blackmailed, so they are bought. They are bought by what is called AIPAC, the American, and I'm talking about America because it's the biggest power in the world and it's called EDOM. The American Israel Public Affairs Committee. This is a group of people who have a lot of funding and they pay money to politicians to support them in their run so that they get Israel basically gets, it's an Israeli alliance. They get their people in power in America. So you can say it's the United States of Israel. So they lobby in this way, all the politicians to vote for every agenda that's in the favor of the plan of the elite, of the dark forces, of the hidden hand, which the base of which is Israel. Now there's a very brave congresswoman, Marjorie Greene. She speaks about their power and influence. Let's give her some ears.
AIPAC, they come and they want to know what's your position on Israel, and they want you to write a paper, and they want to know, they want to fill you out on your position on Israel. And then if you get elected to Congress, if you win your race, everyone's freshman year, AIPAC will take Republicans and Democrats, new members, on a special trip to Israel. But here's the situation, and it can't be ignored, and I have no problem talking about it. I think any special interest group, if they are representing another country, a foreign country, they have to register that way.
Under the Foreign Agent Registration Act, FARA.
Yes, they should register under that law. And I think, and their Americans are members of AIPAC. They're members, they donate to it.
Well, sure.
But if you're still an American and you were representing the interest of any foreign country,
Americans who are lobbying on behalf of a foreign country have to register. Doesn't mean they can't lobby. So why isn't AIPAC registered? Why aren't they registered under FARA? I don't understand that.
I think everybody's too afraid to push that issue.
Why?
Tucker, I have no idea. Because I think it's because it's such a strong group that will come against you. They will come against you. They will fund a primary against you. I'll probably get a primary funded against me for even saying this.
You and Massey are the only member, and the whole class, Republicans are the majority of the House of Representatives. Well, 535 with the Senate, and I still think you and Massey are the only ones who've ever said anything like this.
We're not the only ones that think it, but we're the only ones that say it. They won't say it out loud. It's too risky.
Why all the flags, the foreign flags in the Congress? I was just up there last week, and the Republicans all have Israeli flags.
In Congress, everyone is chasing and pursuing and proclaiming their loyalty to a foreign country.
Every single Republican I'm aware of, other than you and maybe Massey, is like in this weird kind of Israel worship mode all the time. Really, the only issue that all Republicans in the House agree on is that Israel is a priority over the United States. They all agree.
Oh, absolutely. They all agree. Since I've become a member of Congress since 2021, we have voted on 22 resolutions for Israel, 22 of them, all kinds of resolutions, denouncing anti-Semitism, supporting Israel. We voted on 22 of those.
Does anybody ever say again? Like,
no.
We have a country too. 350 million people live here. No one ever says that.
No.
So Nancy Mace is like, she's just excited to vote for another.
Yes. It's coming to a point where it's so obvious all the time in everyone's language, the social media posts they put out, the statements that they make. They have to proclaim Israel. They have to proclaim their faith and loyalty in Israel and how they, Israel is our greatest ally. And it's a statement that has to be made over and over and over again, to the point it's becoming like, wait a minute. It disgusts me. Honestly, I turned a corner this past weekend where I'd had it. I have been in 4 years. My first 4 years was under the Biden administration. And so everything I blamed on Democrats. So we've been in power for 6 months. And I was so excited in the beginning thinking there's nothing we can't do. Literally nothing we can't do. But 6 months in, there's literally nothing that we can do.
This case should not be closed. We have Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison right now. And her little black book was ordered to be sealed under the court. and it has over 2,000 names of rich, powerful people and politicians in that contact list.
So Marjorie tells us there's over 2,000 names in Ghislaine Maxwell's book, and she's locked up. But you know what the court did? It sealed the record of the names of the people who were involved. In other words, those that committed pedophilia, sexual crime acts with children, their names have been sealed and it's not allowed to be leaked. So why is this all in the public? It's in the public because it's a sham distraction. This is what they want Christians to be angry about, to get frustrated about. The Christians bought the hook in the first place. Now they're buying another hook in the second place so that they can be distracted. Distracted from what? We're going to get to that just now. But listen to me. If you as a Christian want justice in this world, fat chance. This world is not our world. In this world, there won't be justice. Not in the way that satisfies what justice truly means, unless God decides to mete out justice. You can forget, therefore, getting angry, frustrated, pulling people one way or the other, posting angry messages about people that hurt you, about people that crippled your life. It's a waste of time because there is no justice in this world. This world belongs to Satan. It does not belong to us. So in the final days, Edom is going to be at the center of everything that goes down. And therefore my concentration is there. Now let us dig a little bit more deeper into this rabbit hole. In 2014, this convicted criminal, Jeffrey Epstein, who is a Mossad agent, a CIA agent, had given $40 million to a man called Peter Thiel. And you know who Peter Thiel is. He is the man who is a boss of PayPal. He also got shares in Facebook, by the way. And Peter Thiel took this $40 million and he started off a company called Palantir. I'm not going to take time to make you see what it means, Palantir. Basically to see the future. Like Minority Report, if you watch that film, where you can predict the future. That's the name Palantir. But the New York Times reported this. Jeffrey Epstein invested with Peter Thiel and his estate in reaping millions. Epstein, the late financier sex offender, started by putting $40 million into Vala Ventures, which is directed money into Palantir, a firm backed by Mr. Thiel. Today, the investment is worth about $170 million. Now, Peter Thiel built this company up. And then he gave donations, Peter Thiel, to, guess who? J.D. Vance, the Vice President of America today, was funded and mentored by Peter Thiel. How do you think he got that position? This is not luck, people. This is a planned thing that goes on behind closed doors. So he gave J.D. Vance money and he gave Trump money. For what? He wanted a government contract for AI. Palantir is an AI company that stores data and monitors people's activities, their bank records, their cell phone records, their phone records, if they have landlines, their purchases, everything that's online, that's on the grid, Palantir will have access to. So they wanted that contract. And lo and behold, he's got a contract with the government that Trump put in place for over $1 billion. The article tells us, growing demand sparks Department of Defense, that's the Pentagon, to raise Palantir's Maven, Maven is the name of that program, contract to more than $1 billion. Despite the high price tag, questions linger about the Defense Department's plan for the AI-powered Maven smart system. Articles in the New York Post and others tell us why Palantir's new government contract should worry us all. 4th of June, Since Trump took office, the company has received over 113 million in federal contracts, including a massive 800 million Pentagon deal. But it's not just the money that's raising eyebrows, it's what Palantir plans to do with it. The Palantir expansion represents more than just another government contract. It's a fundamental shift towards comprehensive citizen surveillance. While the stated goals of efficiency and cost saving are laudable, the potential for abuse is enormous. Now, I spoke to you about what is called the totalitarian tiptoe. You must go back and listen to that sermon to get what it means. But slowly but surely, the end of days beast system of monitoring and tracking and no cash money and getting a mark before you buy, all these things in a tiptoe fashion, quietly in the background, is taking place. So we don't hear about this in the news. We hear about Epstein. And this is what the elders of Zion told us, that they will distract us with a scam, with an empty scam, meaningless, while they do something else on this side. They're pushing their agenda for AI. Now, as you know, that the first step was to create smart bio ID programs. And in Britain, they got what is called the Brit card. British people will know. South African, they got smart card. In America, they got real ID. All these things are biometric ID systems where your iris will be scanned and the Palantir system will be able to read, not only them but others, read your biological system inside your body through the iris. And now, slowly, which is not in the focus, MasterCard has signed a deal with the United Nations to be the first company that is able to put carbon tracking on the credit card. Let's watch this.
Well, don't say you weren't warned. MasterCard and the United Nations are joining forces to monitor the carbon effect of your credit card purchases. And then you'll hit your carbon max and it'll stop working. But hey, of course it's voluntary for now. The new credit card is called Doconomy. And on the back of the card, it's going to say, I am taking responsibility for every transaction I make to help protect the planet. This is a social credit score, and it's a proof of concept. The Doconomy CO2 credit card website claims it is the largest initiative ever taken by a bank in educating its users on the impact of consumption. They say themselves they want to set a global standard for carbon calculations. That's the key. Once they have their numbers in place, then they can give every single purchase you make a score and punish you directly. This is what China does. And of course, this will only be enforced on you and me and any businesses that don't go along with their scheme. And banks are going to enforce it.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was a favorite leading up to the elections of Trump getting into power. He told the people that the poke that we got was so dangerous and that Bill Gates was enriching himself with this poison that he was poking into people. So people excited now. This man is standing for us. So he becomes the health secretary under Trump. He comes out and says, now, wait a minute, this poke that's out is not going to be given to pregnant women and children anymore. As a health secretary, I'm making that order. So if it's dangerous for children and pregnant women, why, Mr. Kennedy, is it allowed to be given to all other people when you can see people are dying? You see, this was a sham. And so, he comes out now just recently, the other week, and he says this. Let's listen.
We think that wearables are a key to the MAHA agenda, making America healthy again. And we are going to, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
He says that in the next 4 years, his vision, like Klaus Schwab, suddenly gone to Klaus Schwab's side now. He wants people to wear bio-tracking devices on them. How do you like that? Let's listen to what Sam Altman, another AI specialist, he says they can scan your iris, for digital ID, and it'll be able to scan your body. Let's listen.
Listen up. Could eye scanning crypto orbs save us from a bot apocalypse? What am I talking about? Sam Altman's eye scanning crypto project launches in the US. As of March, World has orb verified 11 million people worldwide. What is this company's pitch? It is the internet is about to be overrun with swarms of realistic AI bots that will make it nearly impossible to tell whether we're interacting with real humans on social networks, dating sites, gaming platforms, and other online spaces. They've already created the problem. Now they're creating the solution. To solve this problem, World has created a program called World ID. You can think of it as Clear or TSA pre-check for the internet. That will allow users to verify their humanity online. To enroll, users stare into an orb, which collects a scan of their irises. Then they follow a few instructions on a smartphone app and receive a unique biometric identifier that is stored on their device. The company says that it does not store the images of users' irises, only a numerical code that corresponds to them. We have all been screaming this patent 060606 for years now. It's a cryptocurrency system associated with body activity. A server may provide a task to a device of a user which is communicatively coupled to the server. A sensor communicatively coupled to or comprised in the device of the user may sense body activity of the user. Body activity data may be generated based on the sensed body activity of the user. The cryptocurrency system communicatively coupled to the device of the user may verify if the body activity data satisfies one or more conditions set by the cryptocurrency system and award cryptocurrency to the user whose body activity data is verified, saying, if you do what you're told, then you get paid.
We tiptoeing, totalitarian tiptoe, we tiptoeing into the mark of the beast system. While the world is hearing about Jeffrey Epstein and the Christians are caring about who cares? Because one day, every knee shall bow, and every person who committed sin against you and against the world and against any of God's children, they will pay the price. There is justice that side, like no man can mete out on the earth. So who cares? Let it go. I'm sharing this with you so that when the picture is painted for you, there's no need for you to get jumpy. And we know that Europe has already rolled out the smart ID. The head of the European Union Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, most demonic looking woman you can ever find. She says this.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, perhaps the most prominent advocate of that dreaded passport, was out there advocating that we all have to have digital IDs because the future will be digital. You shouldn't have privacy, apparently. Yeah, that's what she believes. She claims that the IDs can be a real booster to emerging economies. The trick is to build public digital infrastructure, she said, that is interoperable, open to all, and trusted. Joining me now to explain just how dangerous this is, Nigel Farage, former Brexit Party leader. Nigel, this is about global government control and a way to what? Redistribute the wealth away from the so-called wealthy nations to everybody else?
Well, it's about control, isn't it? I mean, this is the most glaring example we've ever seen from a prominent world leader. Von der Leyen is the president of the European Commission, 450 million people living within that union. Oh, and by the way, she's unelected, she's appointed, and here she is brazenly saying we need a digital ID card or app on our phones. Now, bear in mind, France and Germany are trialing this already. The European Union, she wants this to be enforced by the early 2030s and, may I add, backed up by a central bank digital currency, living in a cashless society.
Now, Donald Trump looked like the savior for the Christian world, backed by pastors. He chose for the press office, the Christian office there in White House, to be led by an adultering person who's had a reputation, I should say, for adultery. This is the reputation she carries. So the question is, what are we being distracted from? We've been distracted from the setting up of the one world order. More than that, and whether they set it up or not, there's nothing we can do about it. But more than just the setting up, we have been distracted from looking to God for all areas of our lives. We've been distracted from praying every morning, from before we close our eyes, from talking to God. There's just too much going on. Too much in sport, too much with our industry, livelihood, too much in politics going on, that it pulls our attention, our love, our focus from God. You see, because if our focus is pulled from God, we will be caught unawares when these things play out. Let me show you one last thing that sets everything up. Donald Trump just recently, on the 4th of July, passed what is called the Big Beautiful Bill. It's a set of laws, all at once. And hidden inside these laws is this one rule. I'm sharing this with you, and perhaps we can play a video to show you a little bit later. This one big beautiful has one thing inside there, that AI is now going to empower all systems in education, in military, in every state. And no state, no local law can stop AI for the next 10 years. Legally, if AI is operating a system in a state to monitor people, to program electricity, to cut electricity, AI can do anything. It cannot be stopped for the next 10 years legally. That's the new law in the Big Beautiful Bill. But inside there, with a whole lot of other jargon, this clause is hidden. The tiptoe totalitarian program is at work. What does this do? Give AI. This is the weapon of Satan that's going to overtake man, usurp man's powers, and force man to bow to this God. And make man obey, otherwise man won't eat. Man won't be able to buy.
So today we're going to go down one of the largest rabbit holes I've ever found, and this is the replacement of the government with AI, and that's what's in this bill. Let's talk about it. So in section 43201, it talks about replacing the Department of Commerce with AI. Now the question comes with, what else do they replace with? AI. And here's where it gets really strange. It talks about in this section below that no politician or governing body may stop AI for the next 10 years or enforce any laws or regulations regulating artificial intelligence models. That's Silicon Valley owning the government. Then we find Silicon Valley manipulating the weather. Then it gets weirder when we find AI and Silicon Valley entering the healthcare system to control all of that. And you can't sue any of these companies. Isn't that odd?
You see, our lives, our daily lives, our industry, our livelihoods. Jesus had the problem. In his daily life, he had a man that betrayed him, Judas. And when the betrayal came, he was not distracted, because a normal person will be distracted. He'll go into a corner and wallow about it. He'll complain to all the other disciples about how this man can be so ruthless. Yet I fed him, I looked after him, I treated him like a son, and this is what he did. Is to, you question your industry, your livelihood. It's going to distract you from the mission. What's the mission? I need to die on the cross. I need to keep pure my thoughts. Later on, his other friends betrayed him. They said, we don't know who this Jesus is. Jesus did not get distracted from their betrayal. And let me tell you, anyone betrays us who we loved, who we treated so well, we will get distracted. And this is why Jesus was the perfect human being. To show us that we must never be distracted by livelihood. Now let's look at our lives. We go to work, we come back, we're interested, we're focused. Who controls this livelihood? These people on the top. The flow of money coming in and out into a country, the decisions the governments make, all of they affect where you work and what you do. And so everything you do, when you come home, the fight between mother and daughter, the fight between father and son, mother and son, husband and wife. This is industry. This is your livelihood. This is where people's focus is. My job, my work, what I'm going to do tomorrow, how I'm going to get this assignment done. This is industry, my schoolwork, my college. Yes, you have to pay attention to certain things, but never let it be so distracting that you can't concentrate on the important thing. The important thing is Jesus is coming so soon. If you can just not fall in the trap of the devil to get distracted, God will protect you. He's going to honor you. He's going to keep you in His hands till He comes. I'm going to read to you a scripture from the book of Revelations, chapter 3. And God is talking to a church in Philadelphia, to an angel of the church in Philadelphia. The angel, the principality angel that looks after this type of people. He says this, these things say, He who is holy, He who is true, He who has the key of David, He who opens and no one shuts, and shuts and no one opens. This is what God says to you people. Those who believe they are children of God. I know your works. See, I have set before you an open door, and no one can shut it. For you have little strength, have kept my word, and have not denied my name. Indeed, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan, who say they are Jews and are not, worship before your feet. There go justice. And to know that I loved you, because you have kept my commandment to persevere, I also will keep you from the hour of trial, which shall come upon the whole world, to test those who dwell on earth. Behold, I am coming quickly. Hold fast what you have, that no one may take your crown. He who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go out no more. I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the new Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from my God, and I will write on him my new name. God is saying, listen, I command you to persevere. You just keep going. You got little strength. I know you got little strength. I know you go through much. These people and the policies in the world will put you through hell, but I will make them bow to you one day. You just keep persevering with the little strength you have. You don't be distracted. You keep pushing. You don't let these little distractions of industry get to you. The things you work on every day, the things that worry your head every day, you don't let it get to you. You keep your head focused on me, and I will preserve you. And I am coming, and I'll take you to myself. Beloved, that day when Jesus comes is not far away. Now, I want you to know this, that my job is to preach to save sinners from hell, to preserve the saints for that day. My job is not to fill my church. The two are different things. And so sometimes the things I share may not be pleasing to the ear. It may cost you sacrifice. It may ridicule the amount of effort you put in your livelihood. It may make you feel like I'm coming against you for putting effort in your life. It's not that. I just don't want you to let the things that are happening in your skin affect your focus on God. Let your faith remain strong. And God said Himself, He'll preserve you. Let me pray with you. Heavenly Father, I thank you for the love you show to your children. I thank you that you found a way for us. That you told us you'll spare us from the trouble that's coming upon the world. Therefore we believe, Lord, that you will come before the wrath of the tribulation starts. You might come 3 years in, but Father, you will come before we have to be punished by the enemy for being your children. Bless us, Lord, in our daily walk. The things that we pay little heed to, you take care of those things. You take care of our families, our needs, our work, our income. We leave that all to you. We will put our head down and work. We will keep our eyes on you, but give us strength to deal with it daily, Father. In Jesus' name I pray. Everybody said, amen. God bless you. Have yourself a beautiful week. I'll see you again next week. God bless.